Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Talk. I am your English teacher, Naisha, and today we're diving into something that will simplify the way you speak. Have you ever found yourself using too many words to express a simple idea? It gets a bit boring and honestly, it takes up a lot of time, doesn't it? Well, today's lesson is all about single word alternatives, a quicker and smarter way to express yourself. Think of it like a shortcut that saves time but makes you sound more natural and fluent. Win-win, right? Now let me show you exactly what I mean. Instead of saying, the police will carry out the investigation on the incident, long sentence, you can simply say, the police will investigate the incident. See the difference? The meaning stays the same, but the sentence becomes shorter and easier to understand. Sounds good, right? No extra words, no complexity, just simple words. So are you ready to make your English more powerful and precise? Great then, let's get started. Now let's start with the word propose. This is a fantastic replacement for the phrase putting an idea forward. So instead of saying something long like, I want to put forward a new idea for our marketing strategy, you can simply say, I want to propose a new marketing strategy. Simple. It's quicker, easier, and gets straight to the point, right? The same goes for other phrases we use all the time. For instance, let's take this sentence. She has the ability to solve complex mathematical problems quickly. You can directly say, she can solve complex mathematical problems quickly. Using can is much more direct and gets the point across without extra words. Whether you're talking about skills, abilities, or potential, can is your go-to word. Now let's take up the next phrase. Make an improvement. We don't need to say all those words when you can just say enhance. Pronounced as enhance. The stress is on the second syllable, enhance. Say it with me once again. Enhance. Enhance. Great. So instead of saying we need to make an improvement to a customer service, you can confidently say we need to enhance our customer service. See how professional that sounds? The meaning remains exactly the same, but at the same time, you're elevating your English skills with a more advanced word and improving your vocabulary. Now the next one is all about being responsible. So instead of saying the long phrase, take responsibility for, you can simply say assume. For example, she will assume the role of team leader. Sounds good, right? It's a cleaner way to express the same thing and make you sound confident and concise. Here's another one. Carry out a plan. It can be easily replaced with execute. It's a much more direct way to express that someone is putting a plan into action. For instance, they executed the project on time. Doesn't it give a sense of precision? While maintaining the same meaning, the word execute adds clarity. You see that? Now, let's talk about the next word. When you want to bring something to someone's attention, you will say to bring to your attention, right? But that sounds a bit formal, right? Instead, we can use the word highlight. I want to highlight the key points from today's meeting. It's much more effective and gets straight to what you want to emphasize. Now, let's keep moving. Instead of saying, take something into account, we can simply use the word consider. For example, we need to consider all options before making a final decision. I'm sure you've said this sentence before, right? So you would say we need to consider all options before making a final decision. It's a straightforward way to show you're thinking carefully about something. The next one is to put something into action. Now, instead of saying that, we can simply put it in one word, implement. For instance, the company plans to implement the new strategy next month. One word, implement, sounds more formal and professional than using the whole phrase, wouldn't you agree? Then we have another one. You know how we call someone who is in charge a manager? Similarly, instead of using the phrase be in charge of, we can use one word, manage. It's much more direct, isn't it? Like, look at these two sentences. She is in charge of the entire sales team. And she manages the entire sales team. Which one is easier and quicker to say? She manages the entire sales team, right? Exactly. By using manage, we've made the sentence more concise. Now moving on, let's take a look at another phrase, put something together. Instead of using this phrase, we can just use one word, assemble. For instance, the team worked hard to put the presentation together. Can be made shorter with this sentence. The team worked hard to assemble the presentation. Sounds neat, right? Now, when you want to talk about giving importance to something, you can replace the phrase give importance to with the word, what is it? Can you guess? Prioritize. For instance, instead of saying we need to give importance to customer feedback, you can say we need to prioritize customer feedback. It's shorter, sharper, and sounds more professional. Wouldn't you agree? Let's keep going with the next phrase. Give a brief overview. Now, we use this when we want to provide a quick summary of something without going into too many details. So instead of saying, can you give me a brief overview of the report? You can simply use the word summarize. For example, can you summarize the report for me? By using summarize, you're making your language sharper and also adding a touch of professionalism to your speech. Now let's try another one. To make it easier to do something. Quite a long phrase, isn't it? So instead of using this longer phrase, you can simply say facilitate. For instance, this software will facilitate the process. Sounds much more direct and professional than saying this software will make the process easier. Using facilitate gives you a polished touch to your language. Now, when you want to reschedule something, you may use the phrase put off for next time, right? But I have got a simpler word that you can replace that with, and the word is postpone. For instance, we need to postpone the meeting until next week. It is much more efficient than saying we need to put off the meeting until next week. Next, let's look at make something clear. Now we use this phrase when we want to make sure that something is easily understood. So instead of using this longer phrase, we can simply say clarify. For example, instead of saying, can you make this point clear? You can say, can you clarify this point? It's more direct and also adds a touch of professionalism in your English speaking abilities. Then we have pay attention to something, which is used when we want someone to carefully consider something. So we can replace this phrase with one word, focus. So instead of saying, please pay attention to the important details of the project, or please pay attention to the important details of the report, you can say, please focus on the important details of the report. It gets straight to the point, doesn't it? Moving on, we have the word generate. Generate. Now this is a good replacement for the phrase come up with. I know you might be thinking of come up with works fine, but when we use generate, we make our language sound more professional. For example, instead of saying we need to come up with new ideas for the marketing campaign, you can say we need to generate new ideas for the marketing campaign. Did you see that? It gives your message a more formal tone. Now let's move on to the next word, which is authorize. This word can be used in place of to give permission. For example, the manager will authorize the new project proposal. Is more direct and professional than saying the manager will give permission for the new project proposal. Using authorize makes the sentence sound clearer and more polished. And finally, let's look at the phrase get rid of. Instead of saying that, we can use one word, eliminate. Eliminate is like a stronger word that conveys the same meaning while keeping things short and sweet. For example, we need to eliminate unnecessary costs instead of saying we need to get rid of unnecessary costs. You see that, right? And there you have it. We've covered a lot of single word alternatives today. Using them keeps things short and, more importantly, to the point, while still keeping the meaning intact. Whether it's propose instead of put forward an idea or eliminate instead of get rid of, these small changes will make a huge difference in your conversations. Now it's your turn. Try creating your own sentences using these single word alternatives and post them in the comments below. And challenge yourself to replace long phrases with these alternatives. Trust me, it'll make you sound more fluent and confident. Now, if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on such fun lessons. Happy learning!